Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 15th Feb today, and in this video we are going to solve some important questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. But before we will start our discussion, I would like to give the brief introduction about this initiative so that if you are new to our channel you will get more connected with us. Basically in this video we will try to discuss three types of questions. In the first part, the questions which we will discuss here would be taken from current affairs. What we will do here, we'll take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We'll break them down into the simplest language possible, and we'll try to derive the possible prelims questions from those particular articles so that it will give you the idea which part of the newspaper is important for you, what should be your approach when you are reading those news articles, and how you can expect a possible prelims question from those particular articles. This is what we are going to do in the first part of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the second part of our discussion. Here we will discuss questions from the static topics. About this part, currently we are discussing Indian polity, and in Indian polity, we recently completed the office of the president. From today, we will discuss the office of the vice president. We will discuss few important topics related to that, and we will try to derive the possible prelims questions from those particular topics so that it will give you the idea how you can expect a question in your prelims exam from with respect to these topics. After solving questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion where we will solve some previous year questions. To me this is the most important part because in here we will discuss what is the vocabulary which the UPSC uses for framing their papers, what are the different trends they follow, and also we will try to learn how we can solve the questions if we don't have the proper knowledge, what are different elimination methods, what are different techniques, and also we will try to learn how we can implement this knowledge which we are getting from this video or previous year questions in the upcoming exams. This is what in a nutshell we are going to do in this video. Now before we'll start our discussion, I would like to request you guys one thing, that is please do subscribe the channel. When you subscribe our channel, it motivates us to work more hard on these topics so that we will bring much information, much needed information to you guys. So please do subscribe, please do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited by this initiative if you are getting, and please do write in the comments what do you feel about this initiative. Now without any delay, let's have a look at the first question which we had brought today. Here, as on the screen, you can see the question is basically about India-US trade relation. The question is about India-US trade relation. So you may ask me, it is very much, you might be knowing that why we had brought this question, because our Prime Minister, he is in US right now and he is meeting Donald Trump there. In fact, he met Donald Trump there. And with respect to this visit of PM Modi, it has huge significance about the relationship between India and the US. India is one of the initial countries who has visited, who has greeted US President Donald Trump there. So it shows how important India-US relationship is right now. How important it is for India and how important it is for US. So with respect to this visit of PM Modi, there was some many things which were very strange. One, there was the press meet. It was seen after, in these 10 years, there was first time PM Modi was seen in a press meet, even though it was not in India, but he was there. So this is in itself is a significant topic to be discussed. But here we are discussing the trade relation between the two countries. In this meeting between the PM Modi and the Donald Trump, both agreed on one thing, that the trade is the major connecting thing between the two countries. And if we will look at the data currently the trade between India and US is approximately something around 118 to 120 billion. So this is the trade between the two countries. And in this meeting, both the officials, both the countries agreed that we have to increase our trade by 2030, and it should be around, our trade should be around something around 500 billion. We have to increase it over 500 billion till 2030. So we have to go for this much trade between the two countries, because the potential is there. The potential for this much trade is definitely there. So these were a few discussions that we should double our trade, bilateral trade, to 500 billion by 2030. We should double it, we should triple it by 2030. So this is the major concept, this is the major thing which we had achieved from this meeting. And also there are several other aspects related to it, with respect to India US trade relations. What is the surplus enjoyed by India, is, if there is any surplus. So we can discuss that. That is a separate topic that we will understand through this question. But there were major other few events also which highlighted the relationship between the two countries. You would have heard about, everybody in India had heard about the about the Mumbai attacks, the unfortunate Mumbai attacks. With respect that the US agencies, they in a way, we can say in a way, gave the warning to the Indian agencies, but they did not cooperate it fully. Here we thought that US betrayed us. So with respect to that, there is a person who is a who is a double citizen of US and India. He has a dual citizen, and his name is Tahawur Rana. His name is Tahur Rana, and he, with respect to this, he is one of the major prime suspects of the Mumbai attacks. So with respect to him, that the extradition case was with respect to him, and the courts in the US, they had agreed to the extradition of Tahur Rana, and with respect to this, the US president has given the executive order to send him to the India. So this is also one of the important development of this visit, that the extradition of Tahur Rana has been agreed by the US president. The executive order has been formed with respect to that. And also there were many aspects of this visit. There were we had the defense relation with the US. We are about to procure F-35 from US. There are talks with respect to that. There are different, the relation between the US, with respect to critical minerals, we had a different relation with them. For example, the India US Trust Initiative would be started there. India US Trust Initiative. These are few developments which had which had caught the eyeballs with respect to this visit. So here, with respect to this question is concentrated to the India US trade only. So here I hope you had got the basic understanding, and we are ready to solve this question. Before we will solve the question, I will like to add one more thing, that as we know about the mega, make America great again. And what did Modi said there? PM Modi said that mega plus make India great again, and plus mega is equal to mega. So please remember that, these are some acronyms which can be asked in the exam, and it was highlighted by PM Modi there. So these are few important points which I believe you should know with respect to this visit. A question with respect that can be asked in the exam, and here is the model question on that. Let's understand, let's try to solve it. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the trade relationship between India and the United States. First statement, the United States is India's largest trading partner, 100% correct. Sometimes it is China, sometimes it is India, it is US. So United States is India's largest trading partner, with the bilateral trade exceeding 100 billion annually. That's what we saw here. So first statement is 100% correct without any doubt. Second statement, India maintains a trade surplus with the United States, primarily driven by exports of IT services and pharmaceuticals, 100% correct. There was a concern that when Donald Trump came into the office, there were tariff concerns that he may target Indian imports also, because he always believed in that the trade between India and US should be very much balanced. He believed that the surplus which is enjoyed by India in this trade is harming the economy there, is harming the market there. So there were threats that he may establish some tariffs on Indian imports too. So right now there are no such concerns, but what India did, India highlighted a few products which we import from US, and they had listed them down, and in a way showed to US that we are giving you some trade benefits in these imports. So in a way the Modi government was trying to show that please don't put that much tariff on us in a layman's language, but please don't use this in the exam. Third statement, both countries have engaged in trade disputes concerning tariffs on agriculture products and market access for certain goods. 100% correct because of the Trump government itself. Fourth statement, the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity is a trade agreement specially between India and United States. No, it is not specially between the two. There are many other countries. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Correct statements are statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3. So the correct option would be option C. With this, I hope you had understood the question itself and also the concept why we are discussing this question, the context of this question, the visit of PM Modi to US, what were the developments there, what had been initiated with respect to trade, how we are targeting more than 500 billion till 2030. So this is what was discussed in there. And with this, I hope you had understood the topic. Now let's move to the another topic and see what question we had brought on next screen. Now here, as you can see on the screen, the question is with respect to China plus one strategy adopted by major tech companies. So you may ask me, sir, what is the need for this question? Why we brought this question here? Because the answer to this question is directly in the newspaper today. I will tell you how I reached to this question. First, you would have heard about the PLI schemes. Had you heard about the PLI scheme, production linked incentives? It was given by the government with respect to certain companies, with respect to certain manufacturing, that the government will provide them incentives, especially with respect to mobile phone manufacturing and electronics. So with respect to this, you would have heard about another term called Foxconn. This Foxconn, what is it about? It develops or it assembles the iPhone or Apple phones for the Apple company. So this Foxconn, it is working in different parts of the world, especially it used to work in China and assemble the mobile phones for Apple, and they will then send it to the different countries, export it to different countries. But after this PLI was established, this company came to India and it started assembling the Apple phones in India, especially in the Bangalore and Tamil Nadu region. So we had established these two things. First PLA, then we had established Foxconn. Now the third important thing about this is, for the assemblage or for the manufacturing of these Apple phones, we need technicians, we need workforce, we need expert workforce, we need expert engineers. So from where we will get these? This company used to get it from the China. This company used to get the workforce, the engineers from the China, as they were early working in China. They used to get it from the China itself. Now, as they are establishing their ground in other parts of the world also, they usually depended upon the Chinese workforce. As now currently they are working in India, they are manufacturing it for in India, so they needed Chinese workforce because Indian workforce is not that much trained. So with respect to this, China was seeing it. China was very much noticing this whole scenarios, these developments. So what did China do? China did one thing. They put ban on, we can say they put ban on Chinese workers working in India with respect to this company, with respect to the manufacturing of these phones. So what did they do? They cancelled the work permits of the Chinese workers working in India. They cancelled the work permits of Chinese engineers working in India for the manufacturing of these iPhones. And now they are calling them back. Now they are calling them back to China. So what does it mean? It definitely means one thing, that China is weaponizing its position, which the advantage it has gained over the years with respect to technology. Now China is weaponizing it against the India. So this threat was always there. So what did we got here? What did we understood? We understood one thing, that the technology, the advantage China is enjoying with respect to technology, they can weaponize it against India anytime. They can weaponize it against any country, because right now they were losing these manufacturing hubs to India, and it did not go well with China, and they started calling their engineers back. When they are calling engineers back in India, we are left with no engineers who can develop it. So it will definitely impact the manufacturing in India. So with this, what does the author here highlight? That there is a definitely need that India should be self-sufficient with respect to everything, not with respect to only plants. We should have the well-skilled labor we should provide the technology which is required, we should provide the skill to the people which is required. So this is the whole concept behind this question, why we brought this question. So with respect to China plus one strategy, it is adopted by major tech companies because they know that China is enjoying the disadvantage and they can weaponize it anytime. They can put unnecessary bans, so that's why they are diversifying this towards other countries. And India has been one of the major recipient who had got the advantage of this China plus one strategy. So this is the whole idea behind it, why we are discussing this question. Now let's solve the question and get more idea about it. Here the question says, with reference to the China plus one strategy adopted by major tech companies, consider the following statements. First statement, the China plus one strategy aims to diversify manufacturing and supply chains by reducing reliance on China as a sole production hub. 100% correct. This is what Apple used to do. They used to have these production hubs, manufacturing hubs in China. Now they thought that China is enjoying the uneven advantage in it, and they started to diversify it to other countries like Vietnam and India. Second statement, this strategy is primarily driven by concerns over rising labor costs in China, geopolitical risks and supply chain vulnerabilities highlighted by recent global events. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. Third statement, India has emerged as a major beneficiary of the China plus one strategy due to its large consumer market, skilled workforce and government initiatives like the production linked incentive scheme. 100% correct. Because of this scheme, we had attracted this Foxconn, which is developing phones in India. And with respect to PLA scheme, with respect to this company, this company has it has got 6,000 crore under PLA scheme. 6,000 crore incentive it has got under PLA scheme. So we should know how much it has attracted this fire for Foxconn in India. So first three statements are correct. Fourth statement, the success of China plus one strategy for India is solely dependent on the attracting foreign investment with minimal emphasis on developing domestic capabilities. Totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Correct statements are statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3 only. And from the code given below, the correct code is option B. So I hope by solving this question you had understood the question, as well as why we discussed this question, the context behind the question, as the Firefox was working in India because it was attracted by the PLA scheme, as the Foxconn was attracted by the PLA scheme, and for this they needed the Chinese laborers, the Chinese engineers who are very well developed, who had the skill set. So China realized the threat and they called their workers back. Now they had weaponized their advantage. So it is very much against India. Now what should India do? India should focus on self sufficiency, self-reliance. India should develop the youth in India. They should provide the skill set which is required in this time. So with this, I hope you had understood the question and also the context behind it. Now let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Here, the question is with respect to South Lanok Lake. You may ask me a question here, sir, why we had brought this question. The reason for that is, you would have heard about the Teesta Dam. The Teesta Dam 3. You would have heard about it, and unfortunately this Teesta Dam 3 had met an accident and it was destroyed. And because of this accident, because of this destruction of Teesta Dam 3, there were huge floods in the region and many people lost their life. And because of this destruction, the destruction of Teesta Dam 3, the expert committee was set up with respect to this dam, and they have to discuss whether we should rebuild it or not. And now the results have came. The expert committee says that we should rebuild this dam. But it should be fully concrete. It should be fully concrete. Now the question here arises, as it is the Himalayan region, as in Himalaya, it is prone to earthquake, it is prone to prone to glacial lake outburst floods, and that's the reason the glacial lake outburst flood was the reason, which was basically the reason for the destruction of this Tista Dam 3. So the question here comes that should we focus on such dams right now, which can have the huge impact on the population there. So this was the whole discussion in the news article, and with respect to this, the expert committee says it is preferable that we should rebuild it because the energy we get from this is enormous, and if we will divert our attention properly, if we will properly do the studies well, if we will study the conditions there very well, we can avoid these glacial lake outbursts. And with respect to this Tista Dam destruction, it was the South Lonak Lake which was responsible for this damage of this dam. It was the glacial lake outburst in the South Lonak Lake. Because of this, it it was not able to have the capacity of that much water, and it destroyed this dam. It was the reason why this dam got destroyed. So that's why it takes us to this question, what this South Lonak Lake is. So let's solve the question and get the idea here. The question says, with reference to South Lonak Lake, consider the following statements. First statement, it is a glacial lake located in the Indian state of Sikkim, 100% correct. A question about it can be asked. Second statement, the lake is known for its high altitude and susceptibility to glacial lake outburst floods, 100% correct. And because of this, Tista Dam 3 was destroyed. Third statement, the recent GLOF event at South Lonak Lake in 2003 by the earthquake. No, it was not triggered by the earthquake, but majorly because of the global warming. It was glacial lake outburst was there, and it destroyed the capacity of holding the water of the Lonak Lake. It was over the what was the preferred capacity, it was over it, and it destroyed the dam. So third statement is incorrect. Fourth statement, the lake is a significant source of water for the Tista River, 100% correct. This Tista River, it is shared between India and Bangladesh. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Correct statements are statement 1, statement 3, and statement 4. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option D. With this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context behind the question. This expert committee was set up by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It was set up by this ministry, and the results had came out, and they had decided that we should build this dam, but it should be built fully with concrete. So with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Here the question is with respect to Manipur. Why we are discussing this? Because right now Manipur is under presidential rule under Article 356. With respect to this presidential rule, we had discussed every aspect in it, and repeating it every day does not make any sense for you, not for me, and not for anybody, because we had discussed this many times now. But what becomes important for us for today's discussion is, what are the states which border Manipur? A question about that may be asked, and these southeastern states are very confusing. You may get confused what are the states which they share border with. So it becomes important for us to have this understanding, and Manipur being in the news, question about it can be asked. So let's see what are the states which share border with Manipur through this picture, through this pictorial representation. Here we can see the Manipur is here. It shares border with Nagaland, 100% correct. Is Nagaland in the option? 100% correct. To the north. To the south, it shares border with Mizoram. Is Mizoram there? 100% correct. Then it shares border with Assam, 100% correct. So these are the states, and these are the states with which it shares border. It shares border with Assam. Here it shares border with Assam. It shares border with the Nagaland, and it shares border with Mizoram. So these are the only three states with which Manipur shares its border with. Does it share border with Tripura? Totally no. No, it does not share border with Tripura. So what are the states it share border with? Assam, Nagaland, and Mizoram. So with this, I hope you had understood the question and also the context we are discussing from last few days. Now with this, let's move to the another question from the current affairs. Let's see what is the question we had brought. The question is about the appointment of the chief election commissioner. Very soon, where the current chief election commissioner is going to retire, and on 17th Feb, the selection committee will meet and they will decide who will be the next chief election commissioner. So here we need to know who are the members of the selection committee. We had discussed this, but let me be more precise and very brief in it. It is leader of opposition, it is PM, and it is union cabinet minister. So with respect to that, the Modi, Mr. Modi plus Amit Shah and Rahul Gandhi are going to meet and they are going to decide who will be the next chief election commissioner. So here you can see that definitely the members from the government are there, they enjoy the majority, and that is one of the criticism against this selection committee that would be seen. The cases with respect to that are in the court, and let's see how court will decide with respect to that. We know the history, how earlier it used to be only president and then the selection committee came. How the constitution gave this power to the parliament to decide what would be the selection committee. We know about that, and how till 2023 there was nothing done with respect to that. And in 2023, the Supreme Court decided that the election commission should be selected by leader of opposition, PM, and the CJI. But it did not go well with the parliament. They brought up the law, and in that law, these were the members who would be selecting the chief election commissioners and election commissioners. This is the whole history. Now let's solve the question with respect to chief election commissioner. Let's see first what does the question say. The question says, with reference to the appointment of the chief election commissioner of India, consider the following statements. First statement: the chief election commissioner is appointed by the president of India. 100% correct. He is appointed by the president of India, but the member who is appointed by the president of India, he is recommended to the president by this selection committee. That we need to know. Second statement says the Constitution of India prescribes a specific procedure for the appointment of the chief election commissioner, including consultation with the prime minister and the leader of opposition. No, it is not prescribed by the Constitution of India. Constitution of India categorically says that it is the parliament who will make law with respect to that. So it does not exclusively say it should be by PM and leader of opposition. So this statement is incorrect. So if statement 2 is incorrect, then statement D becomes incorrect categorically. Third statement says the chief election commission can be removed from office only through a process of impeachment by the president. Correct. Fourth statement: the condition of service and tenure of office of the chief election commissioner are determined by the president. No, it is not determined by the president, but the condition of service and tenure of office of the chief election commission are determined by the law made by the parliament. So this statement is also, fourth statement is also incorrect. What we are left with? We are left with option 1 and option 3, and the correct option would be option A. Option 1 is correct and option 3 is correct. So with this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context why we had discussed this question. Now with this, let's move to the last question of today's discussion with respect to current affairs and see what we had brought there. As here you can see, the question is with respect to the term fratricide. As it was in the news with respect to Manipur, the CRPF Jawan in Manipur, he did this fratricide incident. What he did, he did the suicide and killed two of his team members, or we can say two other brothers of him who were in the team, who were working with him. This is one of the major issues. This fratricide is one of the major issues with respect to these, with respect to CRPF or the military forces of India or any other country. The main reason which is highlighted, what could be the main reason, is the mental pressure, as they are, usually they are working way outside their home. They are working in difficult terrains, and the work pressure they have their they are not in contact with their loved ones, and this leads to the situation where they want to do the suicide, or they get irritated by their officials and they start fighting on them and finally kill themselves. So that is the term what the fratricide mean, and that is the major reason for that, usually mental pressures. So let's solve the question and get more idea about it in a concrete way. The question says the term fratricide recently observed in news reports most accurately reflects to killing of a newborn female child. No, that is female fratricide. The killing of one's own brother and sister, totally incorrect. The killing of a king or ruler, incorrect. Fourth, the killing of a member of one's own armed forces or group, 100% correct. This is the most accurately we can relate to. So with this, we complete today's discussion with the current affairs. Now let us shift our approach to the next part of our discussion, where we will solve a static topic based question. As here you can see, the question is with respect to the Vice President of India. Question is with respect to Vice President of India. Recently, yesterday, we completed the office of the President. We discussed every aspect related to the President, and we discussed every possible question which can be asked with respect to the President. I hope if you had watched every video of mine, you would be very much in a position to solve any question if asked about office of the President. Now from today we will discuss the office of the Vice President. Today's discussion would mostly revolve around the introduction of the Vice President. About Vice President, we should know the Vice President of India is the second highest constitutional office in the country. VP, it is the second highest constitutional office in the country. The Vice President of India is also ex-officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. He is also the ex-officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. The chairman of the Rajya Sabha is actually the Vice President. And the Vice President acts as a president during a vacancy in the office of the President due to death, resignation, impeachment, or other situations. He acts as the President if the President is not there. Maybe unfortunately he had died, or he has given his resignation, or he has been impeached, then he will be the President. Also, it is Article 63 of the Indian Constitution which talks about the Vice President. What Article 63 says? Article 63 says there shall be a Vice President of India, that is, the office cannot remain vacant. The office of the Vice President cannot remain vacant. So this much information, I guess, is enough for your introduction part, and I hope you can solve this question by this much information. Here the question says, which of the following statements regarding the Vice President of India and Article 63 of Indian Constitution are correct? First statement, Article 63 of Indian Constitution explicitly states that there shall be a Vice President of India, 100% correct. Second statement, the Vice President of India is elected by an electoral college consisting of members of both houses of the Parliament, 100% correct. In this, when we will discuss the election of the Vice President, we will see whether nominated members or the electors of the Vice President or not. That we will discuss there. Yes, they are. Third statement, the Vice President serves as the ex-officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, 100% correct. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3. With this, I hope you had got the basic understanding about the Vice President of India. Now with this, let's move to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve a previous year question, and that question was asked in 2013. Here the question says the annual range of temperatures. Let's see what does the question say. The question says the annual range of temperatures in the interior of the continents is high as compared to coastal areas. What are the reasons? Suppose this is the coastal area, this is the sea, this is the coastal area, and this is the interior. This is the interior. What does the question say here? That the annual range of temperature in the interior is high as compared to coastal areas, as compared to this area. And what could be the reason for that? First, we will look at, is this statement true? 100% true. The annual temperature range in the interior is very high as compared to coastal regions. And the only reason for that is the thermal difference between land and water. Because of the thermal difference between land and water, this temperature here is usually less as compared to the interior. Second statement, let's see if the first statement is correct. Second statement, variation in altitude between continents and oceans, totally incorrect. If it was the case, then then the temperature here, then the temperature on the altitude should have been less, because they are on the interior should have been less, because they are elevated. They are, when we go above the, when we rise through the altitude, the temperature goes down. It is the very basic understanding. So statement 2 is incorrect. Third statement, presence of strong winds in the interior. No, presence of strong winds are on the coastal areas, not in the interior. Third statement is also incorrect. Fourth statement, heavy rains in the interior as compared to coasts. 100% incorrect, because there are heavy rains are on the coasts. We had seen in the Chennai there are heavy rains as compared to other regions. So with respect to this question, what is the correct statement? The correct statement would be option 1. So with this, we completed this discussion. I hope you would have liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would have got benefited from this initiative. Now, what do I want from you guys? Please do share it with your friends, and do subscribe the channel, because as I told you, when you subscribe, it helps the channel grow. With this, I would like to thank you guys. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.